What we accidentally created by innovating, right, was this experience that no one else was doing. Now a lot of people copied us. Like every business on the waterfront next to us copied us. But it was okay because we got so busy, our 3,000 seats, that wait to get in, 200-yard long line of people waiting an hour and a half just to get in the building. They needed an opportunity to go somewhere else that wasn't as good as us. So they'd come back and try again. That's okay.
We are live in Chicago at the National Restaurant Association show, and we've got a special guest, Michael Ungaro.
So special.
Oh, you're very special. I think both me and Michael have been called special our entire lives. It's not always been in a flattering way.
No. There's another meaning to it.
All right, give me the rundown. What does Ungaro mean?
You want to know what it means? It's kind of funny, right? So I'm Italian, okay? But the translation of Ungaro, which I don't say it that way, Ungaro, actually means gypsy or Hungarian or baby stealer.
Okay.
All right, this is what I've been told. Hide your babies, or the Ungaros are coming. Anybody in the audience know that one?
It's a wide swath. We've got one hand. We've got one hand from an audience member.
Hide your babies. Yes. I'm out of here in 30 minutes.
And watch that person over there if he knows what that means. Well, look, Michael, we're here to talk about technology.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most interesting things out there is, there's a lot of legacy businesses.
Yeah.
You're what, third generation?
Yeah, I'm third going on fourth.
You run a fish market, San Pedro Fish Market. How does a family business that's lasted legacies, embrace technology, look at technology? What are the drawbacks there?
You know what? It's so hard, man, to prove it, right? Because I'm trying to think. There's been so many examples of like, just shut up and work. Work. We were talking a little bit, you and I, a minute ago, about Industrial Revolution 3 versus 4.
Yeah.
Industrial Revolution 3 is all like tools. It's all labor-based, right? Single-purpose tools. Like a pencil is just a pencil. Doesn't really do anything else, right? Knife to cut fish, it's just there to cut fish. Doesn't do anything else. And this is really how everything was designed to be, as single-purpose tools. And that's how people think, right? And that's how people manage too. You're an employee, you come in, work really, really hard, give me this task, spatula shrimp, make fajita, put on tray, go home. And so in Industrial Revolution 4, which really started in the 80s, where computers came out, computers are not single-purpose tools, they're multi-purpose tools. And tools really can do one of two things. They either do one of two things or they do both. Produce or communicate. Computers are one of the first, only one I can think of, that does both. It doesn't just produce things, it communicates things. So it really comes up to like how well you can language things into existence and produce them through the offers, the practices, the narratives and strategies you would make and you would produce through a computer. You couldn't do that with a knife or a pencil or a spatula. This wasn't there. So it throws people off. Now you mix in AI. It's almost like Industrial Revolution 5. It's like a new revolution. People are still trying to figure out what to do with computers. They don't realize you have like a little Einstein in your hand all day long.
Yeah, but do you really think it's that? Or do you think it comes back to the fundamental idea that we're in hospitality? It's people managing people, serving people, and like in that people-centric world, do we just always lean on people to solve problems? Work harder.
Totally do. Let me give you an example, okay? I'm going to give you a couple. Does working harder help clear cogs produce better results? Just labor. I went home tired today, so I know my financials are going to be perfect.
No, but I would say that's the difference between technology and hospitality, right? We worked harder in restaurants, to create a better guest experience. And, technology is a little bit more thoughtful.
But it's like disruptive, right?
Yes.
So like I could see, one of the things I've been really concerned with, and I've watched this happen a little bit, is you have these online platforms where people can leave reviews.
Yeah.
Keyboard warriors. There's nobody here. I can say whatever I want about this business today. And so what happens? You don't know this is happening if you're busy head down, butt up, making your fajitas, cooking, making sandwiches, right? Yeah. Whatever it is you're doing, you're not paying attention. I don't have time for the internet. I don't have time for this stuff. Until all of a sudden, why aren't people coming in anymore? Well, your competitor decided to design an entire campaign against you that just make you look like a jackass.
Yeah.
And say, I got food poisoning there. And 25 other people said, me too. And it could be complete BS and you wouldn't know.
Is that true?
It didn't happen to us, but I can see, like I'm giving you a hypothetical. If I was an evil person, it's something I would worry about. I'll tell you what did happen. So why I have to monitor this stuff now is we have intellectual property rights that we own, right? San Pedro Fish Market is protected, Kings of Fish, Krusty Krab. This is our IP. Well, all over the media, we got evicted 2 years ago. So everyone thought they're gone. So all these little businesses popped up, 3 or 4, and some just put it on their menu, San Pedro style shrimp trays. Well, I own the IP on that. So part of me is like, should I just go and license it out to them and maybe like charge them a fee for using the name? And our attorney's like, you could, but you have to do something, because if you don't do anything, you lose the ability to protect your intellectual property. That's not labor-based. Like, you got to have knowledge, you got to have time, you have the energy, you have to know how to produce narratives and strategies and really look at what's going on in the world.
Okay, so I think we need to give some context to everybody. San Pedro Fish Market is a landmark in San Pedro, California. This is a business that's been around for a long time.
Almost 70 years.
70 years.
Yeah, started by my grandfather. We were serving, in 2022, we did 200 tons of shrimp just in that year, all purchased by the pound from customers, cooked and served in family-style trays on our 3,000-seat deck on the water.
So you've got a 70-year-old brand, and it feels like in the last, 4 or 5 years, not only is the brand, but yourself gone through a digital innovation.
Yeah, another great example. So if you talk to members of my family, everyone will have a different story about why did we have double-digit sales growth for 10 years. I was working harder. So I got in my car and I drove from Las Vegas 5 hours to watch you work harder and then went back home. That's why they came that far? Yeah. But they couldn't put together, because when you're head down busy, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. You need hard work, you need labor. It feels good at the end of the day. But what I was doing in the background with the computer you asked me about was I was telling our story. I was sharing it on something new called Facebook that no one was paying attention to. And little by little, the story spread and people heard about it. And then Instagram created geotagging, which we weren't even using Instagram. But because we had 3,000 seats, we were getting geotagged more than anybody. So when they released their top 10 most Instagram restaurants, Katz Deli, Cafe Du Monde, Perch, Voodoo, all these like places that those are, hey, we're number 6 because we had 3,000 seats being geotagged.
So is it fair to say you got pulled into the digital revolution?
Yeah. So we're talking, like, when it comes to innovation, we're talking about innovation a little bit earlier. There's adopt first, right? Like when you adopt something into your life, you just play with it, trying to figure out what to do with it. I know what to do. Then you adapt it into your practices. Then you exploit the hell out of it. But those 3 things take time. Like AI, I'm still trying to adopt to it. When social media came out, I didn't really know how to adapt or exploit it. So I was just testing it. This is what happened, dude. They wanted to redevelop the waterfront we're in for a long time, like 20 some years, because the buildings were in disrepair. We were doing great, but we weren't part of it. We had our own lease directly with the city. Everybody else had people between them, and things just went to crap. So there was a couple voices in the community that were pushing hard to have everything torn down and rebuilt. And so what they would do is go on the media. I'm like ABC News media.
Yeah.
That waterfront's full of drugs and crime and rape and murder. They need to tear everything down.
Which, for the record, is not great for seafood sales.
We don't want that.
No.
But this was happening. And I would sit there going, this is total BS. But I didn't know what to do about it. I'm like, wait, I looked at we have a Facebook account. What is that? Let me look into it. Well, there's 8, 9, 10,000 followers. We weren't even trying. We just had it because we had so many customers coming through. So I took the ABC clip and I put it on there and I said, does anybody have something to say about this? Like, what's your feeling about it? People from all over the country. I didn't realize we had customers all over the country. We had no way to track it. We're like, I go there every holiday to visit family. That's not true. I'm like, oh my God, we have a way to rally people in support of us that we couldn't do before. And that evolved into what became Kings of Fish, our TV show. Like, long story short, like, we started doing more stories. We started telling our stories, started incorporating customers in our stories. And eventually we just produced it into a TV show.
And for the folks out there, shameless plug, if you want to hear those stories, where do we find?
You can go, Kings of Fish, you can watch it streaming on Amazon Prime right now, or you can go to YouTube.
When's the Netflix deal getting done?
Oh, man, I don't know. I think I'm sticking with YouTube, basically after some things you and I heard yesterday.
Love it. All right, so this
behind the scenes.
This is a great example of getting pulled into technology.
Yeah.
Right? Your customers
you either get pulled
there,
in or you get pushed right out.
Well, so have you ever thoughtfully thought about where is it that we want to go and how do we adopt technology to get there where it's more thoughtfully planned?
So once I figured out how to adapt it more effectively in what we were doing, like strategically, like, okay, we're not a restaurant anymore. I just realized we're an experiential seafood brand.
What did you just say?
We're not a restaurant anymore.
You are not a restaurant.
No. And I say that for a lot of reasons.
You're going back to a fish market.
No, I realized what we were doing was so unique. People weren't coming for fish market. They weren't coming for a restaurant. They were coming to spend time with their family. And what they really enjoyed doing was being able to touch and feel the seafood, because you could do that. You could pick up a salmon or a red snapper or huanchinango, which is Mexican red snapper, cabrilla, pargo. They could touch it. Yeah. They can say, I want you to scale this and I want you to do this to it. And then we'd give it back to them and say, bring it over to the kitchen, tell them how you want to cook. They walk around with bloody bag and scales and guts. I want this fried. I want this with your potatoes and vegetables. I want a loaf of garlic bread. And we took for granted that evolved by accident because we didn't design the business to do that.
After 70 years, it's self-selection. People have spoken. That's why you succeed.
Can we try this? Can we do that? What if we did this? Put a barbecue outside. Let's put some griddles. Let's throw some veg. It just evolved. And so what we accidentally created by innovating, right, was this experience that no one else was doing. Now a lot of people copied us. Like every business on the waterfront next to us copied us. But it was okay because we got so busy, our 3,000 seats, wait to get in, 200-yard long line of people waiting an hour and a half just to get in the building. They needed an opportunity to go somewhere else that wasn't as good as us. So they'd come back and try again. That's okay.
Talk to me about the fourth generation.
Oh man, everything I've studied in business in the last 20 years is like businesses don't survive through the fourth generation. So everything that I've been doing personally was we either have to find a way to exit or do that.
I thought they said that about the third generation as well, by the way.
It gets rocky in the third too. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but it's really the fourth, man, because what happens is the first generation, you had the first two, right? My grandfather started it, had his son and best friend, my dad and my uncle running it. And then they brought us in and treated us the same way because all three of us were together all the time. Cracking the whip. This is how we're doing it. Shut up. It's like, I'm going to be a little blunt here. It was, see this broom, stick it up your butt so you can sweep the floor while you're walking around doing nothing. It was all multi-purpose to get stuff done, right? What I'm noticing with the fourth generation, not all, but in some of them, like, I don't want them to go through that. So they come in going, well, this is too hard. I don't want to work this hard. And you're like, my kids purposely didn't work to have them do other things. They have been in and out of it, but my brother's son decided I want to work fish market, go to learn how to cook, and become a manager. Two of his sons actually did that, which is super impressive because I didn't know what was going to happen. But it's not the same case for everybody. And it really comes down to the narratives they hear. We do our best to share the story that hard work makes a difference, but at the end of the day, you really need an education. You got to find out how to mix the two together, like I was talking about earlier. And so. But I can't control it. I can't control the fourth generation thing. So what I did instead is I said, we're not a restaurant. We need IT. So if you want to learn IT, you can do that, which is what my nephew now runs all of our IT. We knew people to run the restaurants and understand them. You can do that. We have a whole media company, by the way, that's producing content for YouTube and for Amazon Prime. I need help on that.
And by the way, I imagine to the next generation, that's far more attractive than mopping the floors and
Yes. I got daughters that are dancers and choreographers. They're all in their 20s now, and they're looking at me like, who are those people? How'd you get a podcast? Like, they don't even understand what's going on, right? I'm like, well, I could help you. I'm just figuring it out on your own. It's up to you. I'm here to back you up.
So what advice do you have for those generational businesses, handing it down from first to second to third? I mean, you guys have done it successfully three times.
It's great. I think one is, I don't think it's wise to try to figure it out on your own. It's not uncommon for people to go through this. So find help. There's a lot of people out there that will help you. Different agencies or consultants. We also use
family therapists.
It could be therapists too, man. We also use the Entrepreneur Operating System, EOS. I think Sarah Stern is her name. She's one of the implementers. She just focuses on family transition. She has a whole book on it. So I met her at an EOS conference, and she was like, she just started following us because she's like, how did you do this? I'm like,
she's one of the 10,000.
Yes. So she's that's another way. I don't think it's a good idea to try to figure it out on your own. Look at what other people are doing, get a lot of help. And the other thing that I'm trying to do is figure out if you don't want to work here, there's a pretty good chance you're still going to become an owner at some point because your parents, my family, might give you some ownership shares. Yeah. So you have to get legal involved too. And like what we did was we had some internal lawsuits where people didn't like what's going on and family members got ugly. So, and nobody had upgraded our operating agreements. So it's like, you got to have AB shares. So something happens to me, you're going to get some shares, but you don't have any control. You're going to have to earn that, and we'll vote you in depending on the education you get. Those are hard conversations to have, but that's what you have to do because it's the longevity. The business suffers if you don't.
All right, we're supposed to be talking AI, but
that's right.
There's way more interesting things that I want to ask you.
Go ahead.
I see the reality TV shows.
Yeah.
How much of it's real? Is this just straight up what is going on in the Ungaro family?
It is kind of like this. There's a lot of the cameras do. So we do it all ourselves. We hire outsider. The guys from Bar Rescue.
Yeah.
Tim Wasmuth is his name. He's the editor for Bar Rescue, Below Deck, bunch of shows. he has a lot of experience doing this. So his story when I first met him was, I think I can help you with what you want to do, which is kind of cover what, I didn't want to create a reality
Were
show.
you a little concerned when it was the bar rescue guy coming into the restaurant? You're like, we've done this 3 generations. This is not a turnaround. We're just, working some things out.
I hadn't watched enough to think about that, but that's a really good point now that I have.
It's like a bias of shooting this. It's like, I know what to do. This guy's going to be the villain.
It was funny because he's like, these guys film all this stuff and give it to me and I have to make a story. So I'm directing from the editor's chair. And I'm like, why didn't you get this angle? Why didn't you get that angle? I don't know how to put this together. So if I had the camera, I could do it the right way. I'm like, oh, okay. So he started talking to us, asking us questions, and he figured out, well, I want to follow you through this day and follow you through that day and see what I capture, because I don't know how you guys would be in front of camera. Everybody ate it up. They're like hams, right? Yeah. So he would create content, right? He'd capture it all, and he goes, well, here's a storyline we can create based on what I have for you, because I watched all this happen. Okay, I'm going to need, then they do, it's called like the, there's these like interview sections, right? Whereas I need you to talk about this so I can string it together so it makes sense for the viewer.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure you needed much of a storyline.
No,
I watched the beginning of it. Yeah. You get evicted in the middle of it. You're going through fights, family. I mean, it's high drama.
It's really funny is when I first met Sean Walchef and we were talking about this, he's like, dude, I watched your season, because we were doing in 5-minute seasons before we did the full Amazon. So we had like 7 seasons. They were just 4 to 5 minutes each, because that's how we wanted to do it. He goes, you did a whole season on the pandemic. I'm like, I did? I wiped that, I erased that from the hard drive, man. Because it was so terrible.
Seafood markets were not a great place during the pandemic.
No, but we had an advantage that all of our seating was outside. So we just moved the tables a little bit farther apart. My brother put partitions up, and probably was less healthy, but that was the rules. Because now the air can't flow. Whatever, it worked out. We still could stay open. We went from 3,000 seats to like 2,500. Yeah. There was nowhere for people to go. So we were one of the only options. So we actually did quite well. But and we learned a lot. It forced us to learn a lot. So we captured all this in the season because we didn't know what to expect. We would just let people in, and they had no idea when they got in, to this crowd. Like, I don't know, I'm in a line. I guess I'll buy seafood here. They didn't know. So we had to let them in 6 at a time by rules. So we'd say, well, what are you here for? Because I don't know. Last time I just followed a line. What do I do when I get here? You don't know? So we could educate and actually get a bunch of information from our customers for the first time and control the chaos.
How'd you get that information?
We asked them. It's like, we say, okay, we're going to let you in. Did you want to sit outside? Do you want to go to the bar? Do you want to? I don't know what those things mean.
2,500 seats. You're asking 2,500 people, and what are you writing it down? You're putting it in a system?
6 at a time. They would jot down notes. They would report back at the end of the day and we'll go, wow, we had no idea. So people aren't buying 3 beers because they don't want to wait in line that long for the 3rd one. So me and you, thanks to me and you and Toast working together, when we opened the temporary location, we only had 60 days to reopen in the parking lot, and we integrated all that. We got to figure out a way to do this. So what those two, what that new tech stack allowed us to do was customers just scanned a QR code. I want another beer. I want another beer. There's no lines anymore. So we're like, wow, we're at 900 seats instead of 3,000, but we're almost selling the same amount of beer because people don't have to wait in line for it anymore.
So what's interesting is, that's the kind of data that people always collected. They said, data's gold. Yeah. Well, what are you going to do with that? Yeah. You're not going to go through 500 of them or 5,000 different customers. Yeah. You kind of put those in the large language model today and probably find out that, people are drinking more during the pandemic and it's not getting better.
Well, yeah, but now they're not. Do you notice that, by the way? I've been studying that.
Younger the alcohol, kids,
they're not.
Sure.
Except for tequila, I think, is the only one. Which is fine.
Tequila's pretty good.
I don't mind. But the local brewery that we had, we had I think it was LA's largest brewery, Brewery West, good friends of ours. They were using old World War II warehouses and creating killer beers. They couldn't keep up with the declining beer sales. I mean, you could still buy the beer, by the way. They just outsourced it all somewhere else, but they couldn't maintain enough sales volume to make it themselves because of the cultural shift.
So you've made it 70 years. You're looking great, like slimming down,
Thanks,
getting strong. You got 30 more years left in you.
Fighting like Rocky. Yeah. Got to get to the last round.
What's happening on the 100th year?
100th year? Oh, wow. Well, we just signed a 49-year lease, so yeah, we'll probably get there. I don't know.
I wasn't worried about the business. I was worried about you.
Oh, if I make it that far, man, geez.
No, you got 30.
I'm going to make it to 120.
You got 30 years in you for sure. What are you going to do for the 100th year? Free fish for all?
I'm thinking I'm going to smoke a cigar, have some tequila,
Sounds like a Tuesday night for you.
Yeah, it's just going to keep moving. Watch the sunset over the ocean somewhere with my wife and family. By that point, I'll probably have some great grandkids. Enjoy life and decide, life in full.
You could bring the entire Ungaro family out. You guys, at that point, 30 years from now, you're growing exponentially.
It could be, man. I have all daughters, so I guess they'll be different last names, though.
And one day you're going to have to give me some updates on how I can raise daughters like yours, because it sounds like they're doing
I'll give you my
impressive
wife's
things.
number. Have our wives talk. you and I just stay out of it.
We
That's
just
a
had
secret.
for the record, we just had our talk. Well, Michael, I appreciate having you on, man.
Great to be here, man. We've known each other for over a year, but we've only been in the same space for 2 days.
Welcome to the digital
24
economy.
hours. Yeah, crazy.
No, it's
Good
a
to
small
finally see that
world.
you're a real person and not an AI. I was a little curious.
We would like to create a few AIs. It won't be of me, though. It'll be of my co-founder, Osa, who's out there somewhere.
OSA AI and Matt's just an agent. Is that what they call it now? I think I just learned that.
Yeah.
Agent Matt.
Yeah, no, they keep us people
Not
around
Smith.
to still be people. Have
To
the real
bounce off the wall.
conversations.
He's not allowed to work in the office. This guy bounces off the walls.
No, I'm not. I do not sit well.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you what, guys like us, we may not sit well. Good at talking, good in the kitchen.
that's right.